During a recent trip to the Red Sea, our first night on the liveaboard yacht coincided with a full moon. There was only one thing to do, and that's a night dive. We were all quite tired from the previous night's flight from South Africa to Egypt and the transfer to Sharm el-Sheikh and then onto the boat. And we already had one dive behind us. But the opportunity to explore the reef beneath us at night was too good to let go, and so we kitted up. Our dive master was Carl Prinsloo, a South African working in the Red Sea area. We were a group of about 10 divers, and Carl explained to us to swim along the side of the boat to the bow and then to descend along the mooring line that would take us to the reef. Carl was first in the water. For those who stayed on board, the divers were soon no more than a group of light pools under the water, sweeping this way and that as the divers explored the reef. For me, there's something intensely dramatic and focused about a night dive. It probably has something to do with the contrast between the total blackness under the water and the divers' lights playing over the reef as they explore it to find those creatures which only come out at night. Carl had told us to keep a lookout on this reef for Spanish dancers, a large red nudibranch. I found one almost as soon as I arrived on the reef. They get their name from their spectacular colors and their ability to swim with beautiful undulations which remind one of the movements of a Spanish dancer in a bright red dress. Carl came over and we all gathered round to watch. The idea was to very gently get a hand in under the creature and to tickle its belly, which usually will start it swimming. One has to be very careful not to injure it or to frighten it, and Carl took great care. This one needed a bit of help to direct its swim so we could all see it, and Carl was very gentle with it. It paid off, and soon we were all astonished by this creature's spectacular swim. Carl had explained to us that the Spanish dancer's swim is in fact a survival mechanism. The moment it feels threatened or uncomfortable on the reef, it makes a dash straight toward the surface of the sea. When it gets near the surface, it suddenly stops swimming and then simply glides back to the reef, as this one is now doing. It doesn't direct its glide and simply floats down until it lands in a different place. This was an impressive sight, and I was greatly moved by it. We continued diving and eventually moved on to other sections of the reef. The divers began spreading out, exploring and taking photographs. I soon found another Spanish dancer, but we decided to leave this one in peace. There was some current here, and if it had started swimming, it would certainly have drifted away and we would have lost it. The darkness draws out a lot of different creatures, like this little brindled cardinal fish. I was amazed by its subtle iridescent blend of pastel blues, greens and yellows. Further along the reef, my attention was caught by a blob of bright pink. I was totally baffled by this, and it took me several moments to realize that I was looking at a huge stonefish. I truly never knew that they were capable of displaying such vivid and bright colors, because they normally tend to remain somewhat unobtrusive, like their surroundings. But there was nothing drab about this one. It was in fact the shape of its pectoral fin that eventually betrayed to me what I was looking at. In many ways, a night dive captures the very essence of diving. It directly touches our instinct for exploring the unknown, appealing to our sense of adventure. No dedicated diver will ever turn down a night dive. Here you can enter another world where the only reality is captured in a tiny pool of light. The rest is left to imagination, while the dive boat waits somewhere up there on the surface like a massive mothership from another galaxy beyond this intense darkness. It's exactly this pitch blackness that gives breathtaking definition to any subject you might throw light onto. It is a perfect background for color and shape. Everything seems to hang in space, disembodied from our world, existing entirely in a bubble of light. A little further I found another stonefish with the same bright pink display. This one was deeper in between some rocks and I couldn't get a clear shot of it. But I noticed how well it imitated the textures around itself, at times being virtually invisible. I wondered also what the purpose of the pink was, when in fact there was nothing to see it in the pitch black darkness. I tried a different angle but still couldn't get a clean shot. I eventually stood right on my head, but only lost my balance and then simply abandoned it to explore another section of the reef. One of my favorite sea creatures is the crinoid. They are generally nocturnal insofar as being most active at night. During the day, they curl themselves into a tight little ball and can be virtually inconspicuous. But it's at night, when they open up to feed, that their beauty can be admired. They are very shy of light, but sometimes during the day you can find them opened up in the soft light of caves and overhangs. Initially, when I first encountered them, I couldn't figure out if they were plants or animals, but in fact they are a class of sea creature all on their own. They have a system of feet that allow them to move around from place to place quite easily. These creatures perch themselves on prominent places where they are exposed to mild current. Then they open their feathery arms to the water flow to capture any plankton that might come drifting by. They come in a wide range of colors and can make a night dive a really rewarding experience. I still prefer to think of them by their more common name as the Featherduster starfish. On this particular dive, everything was working just right for an abundance of these crinoids, just about everywhere. From down here at a depth of around 15 meters, the full moon could be seen behind the waves on the surface, casting a very soft light onto the reef, ideal for drawing out these lovely creatures. But the crinoids were sensitive to the harsh glare of my camera lights, and at times, when I got too close, they simply curled up as if to protect themselves. But I can truly say that nowhere else have I seen so many of them together and with such a variety in color. Towards the end of the dive, directly underneath our boat, I found Dennis King photographing something. The onboard crew had switched on some powerful lights and shone them down into the water, which bathed everything in a beautiful soft blue light. Most of the divers had begun making their way up the guideline to the boat and were busy killing time with their safety stop. From down here at the bottom, it was an interesting sight. After the dive, everyone agreed it was definitely worth the effort, in spite of being so tired after the long journey. And everyone thought it was one of the best night dives they'd ever had. Carl, our dive master, was last out, and everyone looked forward to dinner and to some sleep.
Go down like a house on fire.